Welcome to the Mount Vernon Sports Talk Show. I'm your host, Fisher Overstreet. We got some NBA, we got some NFL, and we're also going to have a special guest on our first ever show tonight. First, we're going to jump right into college football. It's been an exciting 48 hours. It's been an exciting whole year, but especially the last 48 hours. Let's go right into the college football playoff. First game of last night, it was Clemson and Oklahoma. It wasn't a close game, but it was a lot better than the other game. Clemson won 37-17. Alabama 38-0 over Michigan State in the other game. So Clemson and Alabama will face off in the championship. I'll take Clemson just for the fact I hate Alabama, but Nick Saban's a great coach, and I'm sure he'll have that Alabama team prepared. Clemson, on the other hand, is the only undefeated team left, so they've definitely earned that spot to be the number one seed and to be in the championship. Also, yesterday, in a bowl, you had Houston, big time over Florida State, 38-24 in the Peach Bowl. Most people are calling that an upset. I'm not. Houston only had one loss on the year, but I still think they were a really solid team despite being in a weak conference and having a weak schedule. Today we had some good bowl action. Tennessee 45-6 over Northwestern. So the Big Ten has been really flip-floppity, with Michigan State getting crushed and Northwestern getting crushed. But then later today, Michigan big over Florida 41-7, and then Ohio State 44-28 in the Fiesta Bowl over Notre Dame. So then Big Ten got some wins. Then they got pummeled 45-16. Iowa gets crushed by Stanford in that Rose Bowl. So Christian McCaffrey, I'll talk about him at the end of the show. He's one of the greatest college football players of the whole year. Maybe should have even won the Heisman. He's just a great player. He set some Rose Bowl records today. And so much love to him. Pretty fast for a white guy, too. Going to the NFL. The AFC, you got the Patriots, Bengals, Broncos, and Chiefs as the four teams that are in the playoffs right now. The Colts signed Josh Freeman to try to win this game as a quarterback this year in the last game of the season. The Colts need to win, obviously, and they need a lot of other things to happen to make the playoffs. Josh Freeman has not had much success in the NFL so far. We'll see if he can get that win for them. Also, the Jets will clinch a playoff berth by beating the Bills. They can also win by a Steelers loss. In the NFC, all six teams have already been locked in the playoffs, but we still have some seedings to work around. Panthers and Cardinals. Panthers 14-1, Cardinals 13-2 are the top two seeds. We'll get first round byes and home field advantage in the second round. Packers and Vikings are 10-5 each. They will play for the NFC North title this Sunday. That'll be a good game. I know Packers fans wanted to be a lot better than they were this year. They had a tough 4 or 5 week stretch where they went 1-4. But they had a good win against the Lions a couple weeks ago in primetime, where they ended up winning on a 62-yard Hail Mary, Aaron Rodgers to Richard Rodgers. That was crazy. I was watching that game. So they're back in business, and the winner of that game, the Packers and Vikings, will have home field advantage in the first round. The other team will still make the playoffs just as a wild card and having to go on the road. The Redskins clinched the NFC East last week by beating the Eagles. Chip Kelly was fired later afterwards, and I also won $5 off of John Winkler on a bet on that game. And then you have the Seahawks, who are 9-6 in the league and will be a wild card. Going to go to the NBA now. We're going to have my friend Tristan Penrod on the phone. I'll call him up right now. We're going to be talking about some top 10 and some of our... I will announce my 3 stars later on. Tristan was a good athlete himself. He was in the 100 Win Club in our high school wrestling program. So one of the greatest wrestlers in our school's history. So much props to him. Hopefully he makes it in the Hall of Fame someday. But here he is. What's going on, man?
How's it going?
Not bad. So, first off, obviously...
Just chilling out?
Yeah. The Warriors and I'm getting sick of hearing about them in the media, but got to give credit where credit's due. They've been a great team. They've only lost 2 games so far this year. Even with Steph Curry, they seem to be the greatest team in the league. What are the chances they go back-to-back this year?
I give them a 65% chance. But I can see the Spurs winning this year. They're really good as well.
Okay, how about some other teams in the West? The West is kind of weird this year. The Eastern Conference is better than the West, you could say. There's still some good teams in the East this year that would not make the playoffs if the season ended today. And then in the West, the Jazz are an 8th seed, and they're 3 games under 500. So how about the Thunder, the Clippers, the Mavericks? Who are some other teams that have good chances?
The only other teams besides the Warriors and the Spurs in the Western Conference is the Thunder and maybe the Mavs because they have Dirk and championship experience and Rick Carlisle. So that's the only other teams I think will win in the West.
Okay, how about the East? Give me a couple teams. Obviously, the Cavs are always going to be there. I'd like to say my Celtics, but that's just not going to happen. I think the Heat are looking decent this year. They could be a lot better than they are right now. What do you think?
If I'm going to head with the Eastern Conference team other than the Cavs, it'd have to be either the Toronto Raptors or the Indiana Pacers.
Yeah, I'd like to see the Wizards get somewhere, but it's just not happening this year.
Yeah, Bradley Beal gets injured too often, and they can't keep their team healthy.
Yeah. All right. Well, who do you think the MVP of the year is so far, and who do you think the most underrated player of the year, of the season?
My MVP would be Curry right now. Mm-hmm. Currently in the first half, he's been unstoppable, clearly.
Yep.
But Paul George has been the same unstoppable, putting up big numbers as well, so I can see Paul George winning. I want to be appalled to that. Of course, LeBron's always in the conversation. Westbrook is in the conversation. And KD could even be in the conversation because he's been doing really good, thankfully.
Yep, he's been fire.
My most underrated player would be Andre Drummond. He's brought Detroit on a different level amongst Jackson as well. But Drummond to me is up there with Cousins as the top center in the league. I wouldn't be mad at either one of them being on my team as a franchise center.
Yeah, Drummond, the only thing with him is he doesn't make free throws. And I always put that against him because I always say, you're a pro, you should make more free throws. But he is a great rebounder, good defender, and he's young, so hopefully he can lead that Pistons team to some good years in the future.
The thing with that free throw, though, is Shaq couldn't shoot free throws either, and he's a 4-time champion.
And, you're definitely right, because I have Shaq on number 10 on my top 10 list, which might be a little too high for him, but I'm going to read off my top 10, and I'll let you read off yours. This was kind of loose, wasn't too serious, but here we go. Number 1, Michael Jordan. 2, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. 3, Bill Russell. 4, Wilt Chamberlain. 5, Oscar Robertson. 6, Kobe Bryant. 7, Magic Johnson. And wherever Magic is, I have to put Bird somewhere, so I'll put Larry Bird number 8. Tim Duncan number 9, and Shaq number 10.
That's a pretty good one. Really, my list, other than the top 4, you could put anyone you'd like there amongst history because that's all opinionized. Mm-hmm. And number 10, I got Jerry West because why can't you put a guy who's the logo on the top 10?
Right, he was
clearly he was influential in the game. I got Hakeem Olajuwon as my number 9. Isaiah Thomas as my number 8. LeBron as my number 7 currently. Mm-hmm. Shaq as my number 6. Bill Russell at my number 5. Kobe Bryant at number 4. Larry Bird at 3. Magic at 2. And, of course, Jordan at 1.
Yeah, that looks like a solid list. LeBron, I thought about putting him on there. Same with Isaiah Thomas is up there, Jerry West. I still think Abdul-Jabbar and Chamberlain should get some, at least in the top 10. I know it wasn't near as competitive back in the day, but they really did change the game. They had to make rules around Wilt Chamberlain just so he wasn't as dominant as he was. Dude scored 50 points a game one season.
Yeah, like I said, after number 4 and Kobe Bryant, you can put anyone you want up there. Really.
And I even think with Kobe Bryant, did he only win MVP once?
You see, I feel like in his era though of MVP, it was a popularity vote, so I can't really say anything.
Well, it's pretty much always been a popularity vote, so I don't usually use MVP as I usually use all-time records, look back at season stats, of course, rings. But you're definitely right. All right, well, I said this would be a 5 to 10 minute show, and we're at 11 minutes right now. So, thanks, Tristan, and appreciate you letting me call.
No doubt. Have a good one.
All right, man. See you. All right, we're going to finish up with my 3 stars of the week. This is pretty loose as well, just like my top 10. Number 3, Draymond Green. He had his 5th triple-double of the season this week. That's the most in the NBA. And he earns my number 3 star. Christian McCaffrey set a Rose Bowl record, was setting records all over the place for Stanford this year. He earns my number 2 star, and my number 1 star, Coach Gruden of the Washington Redskins. Like I said, only 8-7, terrible division. As much as I hate everyone in that division, every team in that division, I gotta put Coach Gruden at number 1 this week for leading the Redskins in his first year with him to the playoffs. Kirk Cousins really matured this year. Hate to see RG3 just the last couple of years just go downhill. He was so promising, looked so promising, won the Heisman, got the Redskins to the playoffs in his rookie year, but oh well, the Redskins are still looking really solid, and look for them to do some noise in the playoffs in a week or so. Alright, thanks for tuning in. If I end up putting this on YouTube, please subscribe, and I'll be making one about every week or so. Of course, you'll get notifications when the video is put on there. If you're on Facebook, like this up, let me know what you think, and I'll see you guys next week.